Hello and welcome to Aerotech's Automation 1 instructional video series. Aerotech is a company that solves your toughest precision motion and automation challenges. Automation 1 is a motion control platform consisting of software-based controls and development tools, PC and drive-based control hardware, and hardware-based drives for servo motors and other devices. In this video, you will discover how to ensure the Automation1 Python API and other libraries are set up and ready to use Jupyter notebooks to connect to the local Automation1 controller, configure data collection, command access motion, extract and plot data, develop a simple user interface. My name is Patrick Wheeler and I'm a product manager for Aerotech. In this video, I'll be presenting work developed by our mechatronics research groups, Adrian Bakhtar and Sam Hun. Let's get started. So in my screen here, you will see that I am working off a PDF document in the top right, and we'll be referring to the command prompt down below and also to the web browser here to the left. Tucked underneath that, I have the Automation1 Studio application. You'll see the Access dashboard data items and status change as I interface with the controller via the Automation1 Python API. First off, let's get a review of the Automation1 Python API. It's an incredibly powerful feature and allows users to combine open source data analytic tools of Python with Automation1. You can connect to our controller, move a stage, get status, run programs, change configuration, change parameters, collect data, retrieve data, all without needing to open up the Automation1 Studio, which we do have open today. In addition, users can develop custom programs in Python to suit any of their precision motion needs. So the capabilities are vast here. Let's get started in setting up the Automation1 Python API. So before you use Automation1 Python API, you must install Python, specifically what's called pip, on your PC. So in order to do that, please visit python.org for instructions on how to install. You must use Python 3.8.10 or newer. Also, make sure you add Python to path when you're running the installer. After you've gotten that far along installing Python, make sure you run the codes listed here in your Windows command prompt, and you should run your command prompt in administrative mode. So I will do that just to show you how it's done. You will also note that many of these things have already been done on my computer, and the command prompt will report back to me that this is already installed. As noted, the version I have installed on my computer is Python 3.11. Now that we have Python installed, you will install the Automation1 Python API. To do that, go to our help documentations at help.aerotech.com/automation1. Please note that I will not run this today because as a local Aerotech user, my installation directory is different, but this is a line of code that you will copy and paste and run into your command prompt in order to install the Automation1 Python API on your computer. But we'll skip over that for right now. Next, you have to make sure you install the Jupyter notebook on your computer as well. To do that, go to the Jupyter notebook installation page and copy the script that you see here, which is pip install notebook. Again, in doing this, you'll see that this has already been installed on my computer. To launch the Jupyter notebook, you will run Jupyter notebook in the command prompt. I will skip over that for now because I have already launched it. After the Jupyter notebook is installed, you will go to the other libraries that we'll utilize in this example, and you'll install them as well. Again, you'll see this has already been done. Now that you've done that all, you'll launch the Jupyter notebook with this command Jupyter notebook, and you will come to the Jupyter notebook home screen, and you will launch a new Python 3 notebook, which I've already done. The rest of this demonstration will be running the code that is provided to you in this example text. First one is to import all APIs and libraries. That is in the first block of code. I will run that without error. In the next block of code, we will connect to the local Automation1 controller. You'll see I got verification back by the print function true. This is a true statement. In the next block of code, we will configure data collection. We're configuring 1,000 points to collect at a 1 kilohertz frequency. And we are going to collect the position command, the position feedback, and the position error of all of the x-axis. So that data has just been configured for collection. No data has been collected yet until we actually run the motion command. So in this next block of code, we're going to command axis motion. And you will see down below that the X and Y axes will be enabled and homed. And then the motion command is actually only commanded to the X axis. And it is a position move of 10. So let's run that block of code as well. So everything happened as I just explained it to you. The next portion of the example is to extract and plot data. So the code here will actually store this information back off of the controller, and it will plot it for you in a nice visual plotting tool. The plot tool is defined in these sets of functions here at the end of this block of code. So you'll see here a move from 0 to 10 was commanded. You'll see it here in the Automation1 Studio application for the x-axis. And it is plotted here based upon the number of points we collected. Moving on, we were able to plot 3D graphs as well. So this next example will show motion in all three axes, X, Y, and Z, in a three-dimensional plot. Let's run that block of code. You can see the motion of the X, Y, and Z axis was plotted in the X, Y, and Z dimensions of this 3D plot. Finally, the last block of code here is for a section of this help document called Develop a Simple User Interface. So we'll run this block of code as well, and you'll see I get a user interface requesting a step size to run on the x-axis. I'll run a step size of 125. I hit run. It tells me that it's actually stepping right now, and I see the motion commanded from 0 to 125. If I want to run another step, for example, a much shorter one, I can do that as well, and it will show up right underneath. That concludes this instructional video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed learning about how to use the Automation1 Python API side by side with other Python libraries in Jupyter Notebook to command motion, collect data, plot that data, and create a simple user interface to the Automation1 controller.